Teach Radio. Teach to Teach Radio. Education for all, for all, for all. Education for all, for all.
Welcome to Teach Radio program. Today we are looking at the topic kind discipline. With me to discuss this topic are
Idris Uhumu from Warwa Kuku,
Ilyasu Esule from Pendle Primary,
Tufelu Said from Vakpeswa Primary,
and Yakub Mohammed Awal from Vakpeswa Primary.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start the ball rolling. What is discipline in your own words?
I would say discipline is a way of teaching children and students the acceptable behaviors in a very firm way, but in a kind way as well. Using kind ways in teaching them the right things to do.
I will also say it is a way of putting or guiding people, putting up responsible behaviors and also positive self-control.
That tells us some of the purposes of discipline. Can you throw more light on why we instill discipline in our schools?
I can say that discipline is aimed at making sure that the right thing is done, especially when it comes to our classrooms. We ensure that the children do the right thing at all times.
Getting students to do the right thing, and also discipline also serves as a deterrent to others.
And discipline guide the children to follow the right values of the school and the community.
I will also add that discipline is a corrective measure.
So let's look at our own experience when we were young. Just tell us one practical example of how you were disciplined when you were schooling or at home.
In our days, when we were at school, caning was used as a type of punishment, which in fact deterred some of us from, and even dropouts. Some of us were injured as a result of the caning. Me, for instance, one day I was late for school. We were about 5 children. The assistant head teacher called us to cane us. So when we were assembled and he was caning, the first, second, third, I was the 4th person. I turned to run away. Unfortunately, the cane got my eye, and it was swollen. For the rest of the week, I couldn't go to school. So I think those days, caning used as a punishment or disciplinary measure was very bad.
Good. We can see that it could end up making him not to be able to see with one eye again. So we can see the effects of it, how it can affect these children when we use the cane. Anything can happen. They can be injured. Let's mention some of the hazards or some of the effects or impact of using corporal punishment.
Corporal punishment deters or even school dropouts. Children run away from school and they don't want to come back as a result of the caning we said earlier on. And even Minister of Education and the Ghana Education Service have all frowned on the use of corporal punishment in our schools.
Just to add to what Chief said, corporal punishment also leaves students or children losing interest in doing certain things. Let's say in certain subjects. For example, in my case, back at school, I had an encounter with my friend teacher who was very harsh on us. He used to cane us during French lessons, which made us lose interest in learning French. So up to date, my friends and I, when we see each other, it's only bonjour we can remember in French. Bonjour, bonjour, then they'll say bonjour. Then we just vibe and go. So using corporal punishment can make students lose interest in certain subject areas. And even in the house as well, using corporal punishment can make your child lose confidence in confiding in you, the parents, telling you their problems and needs as well.
Okay, and I think another form of disciplinary measure we use, but we don't even consider that as anything harsh, is hooting in class. A teacher asks a question, maybe a child fails to understand to get the question right, then the teacher will make the other children to hoot at the child. The teacher might not know the impact it will have on the child, but emotionally, the child will be damaged and affected. And it can follow the child throughout his educational life, but we often don't consider that as harsh.
Teach to Teach Radio. Teach to Teach Radio. Education for all, for all, for all.
So what alternative measures can we put in place so that those teachers who say that I must punish the child or I should use corporal punishment because I don't have any other alternative? So what alternative measures can we put in place
I think
instead of corporal
we should,
punishment?
try to include kind discipline. We should try to let teachers understand and know that kind discipline is what will.
Can we get an example?
An example of a kind discipline is referring the child to established rules set in the class. For instance, the do's and don'ts in the class. If you go contrary or against any of the rules set up in the class, we try to refer the child to the laid down rules so that they wouldn't do that. An example of a kind discipline is also reciting a poem. You can let the child recite a poem or tell a story to the whole class. I think it is also a kind discipline. We try to recommend this to our teachers.
Why will you think that if you ask a child to recite a poem or tell a story, it's a kind discipline?
Yes, it will engage the child to think.
Okay.
If the child did not have the poem offhand, the child will have to think to get it, and then at least he will be a bit worried, and then he will be struggling to get.
Won't that embarrass the child?
No, I don't think so. It will rather encourage the child to learn more. That's my opinion. Maybe any of you might.
Some will be affected as he or she is not able to deliver. Looking at the friends may decide to hoot at him. So because of that, he may be mentally disturbed on that day.
No, but I think that depends on the way you put it. Have you seen that? Don't think because of so and so recite a poem.
No.
Have you seen? You are not making the child recite a poem because the child has done this. Immediately you want to say, because you have done this, recite a poem. There's a way you are going to say it, so the child will not feel that you are punishing him or her. It depends on the way you put it.
So the child will not feel bad.
Yeah, that is it.
One of the measures is also giving the child an extra academic exercise. You can allow the child, maybe during the break time or closing, to write a particular sentence, maybe 2 or 3 lines. I think that too is a kind discipline for me.
What of listening to the child? The child has done something wrong. You create the space or platform for the child to correct himself or herself.
Yeah, I think Elijah, you are right. Because sometimes the child might do something you think is wrong. You don't know why he or she has done that. But if you find space to listen to the child, you will see that maybe the child did not do that intentionally. Have you seen? So it's always good we listen to the children.
Very good.
I think that will also even correct them. Because if you listen to the child and then after hearing the side of the child, maybe you say, oh, then why should you do this? Next time, don't do that again.
And to add to
Won't that give the child a chance to become a liar?
No,
Because some will decide to lie.
To add to what he has said, I think it is very, very important because sometimes, supposing the child is always late, and it might not be the fault of the child, listening to the child and following him or her to the house can correct that behavior. Maybe it's from the parents. So if you listen and then make follow-ups, I think you can talk to the parents to always try to release the child in time. I think listening to the children is very, very important.
Thank you very much.
Teach to Teach Radio. Teach to Teach Radio. Education for all, for all, for all.
So what will you tell our teachers as well as our parents? What do you expect them to do probably do away with corporal punishment or harsh discipline and encourage them to resort to kind discipline or positive discipline.
To my colleague teachers, I want them to know that if you try to indulge in corporal punishment and something happens, even the teacher unions is not ready to defend you. If something unfortunate happens, you will shoulder it by yourself. And then to the community members, I think it is good they also try to accept that corporal punishment is very bad to upbringing of our future leaders.
Good. Umu, can we hear from you?
What I have to add is I will encourage parents and teachers to always use kind discipline, in the sense that corporal punishment has a great negative effect than positive, in the sense that sometimes a child might come from the house beaten by the parent, and that will make the child kind of reserve, would not like to contribute in class, and it will have a great effect on the child at the end of the day. So I will encourage parents to always use positive ways to correct the child rather than using corporal punishment.
I think educating the parents would also help. If the parents know the new trends of education and then how children should be handled these days, because it's not like the previous days where corporal punishment was a measure to correct the child. This time the trend has changed, so parents need to change as well. So the parents need to support the teachers in doing that, because if teachers adopt the kind disciplinary measures and then that only resort to the corporal punishment, I don't think we'll achieve anything. So the parents also need to support teachers so that we can achieve this together.
I think everybody should adopt kind discipline rather than corporal punishment.
Thank you very much. All too soon, our time is up. We want to thank our panelists for making time with us. Come next week, you hear from us again. Get yourself glued to your radio sets and then listen to the next episode that will be coming your way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Teach to Teach Radio. Teach to Teach Radio. Education for all, for all, for all. Education for all, for all.
Hi, this is Wiyala. I support Teach to Teach because education changes lives, especially for girls. So let's take advantage of the positive impact education can have on our lives, our communities, and our people.
Teach to Teach is produced by Teach to Teach International in collaboration with the Center for Literacy and Vocational Studies, Ronin Africa, and Radio Savannah. You can find Teach to Teach International and Teach to Teach Radio on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook.